If you would like to ask a question during the conference, please press star, then the number 1 on your telephone keypad. If you would like to withdraw your question, please press the pound key. And I will now turn the call over to Ryan Davis. Please go ahead, sir.
Hey, thank you very much, and thank you everybody for joining us today for the first Missouri Valley Conference Women's Basketball Coaches Teleconference for the 2016-17 season. We're going to kick things off with Coach Cindy STEIN at Southern Illinois. The Salukis are sitting 7-6 overall, and they opened up conference play at 1-1 this past weekend. So welcome, Cindy.
Thanks, Ryan.
I guess go ahead and get started here. We'll just kind of have you comment about, I guess, your non-league schedule. You had a nice win over a Big Ten opponent, beating Purdue, and then opening up the conference season, you opened up with a split with Loyola and Indiana State. So just go ahead and talk about the season up to this point.
Yeah, we're playing a little bit inconsistent. We'll have some really good wins and some probably not so good losses. And, it's just a matter of we got a really young team. Over half of us is either freshmen or sophomores with very little playing time. So that's our depth coming in off the bench that's got to be a little bit more consistent. Our starters have to be better. And obviously you have to raise your level of play when you hit conference play. So we're still a work in progress, and we're just continuing to work to get better.
And then going off that, you're coming up this weekend, a tough road trip heading to Northern Iowa and Drake, two of the top teams in the league so far this season. What do you expect to see from your team this weekend, and kind of use that as a measuring stick going forward down the road here in conference play?
Well, and as I told our team, this is always a tough road trip, but honestly, there is not a team in our conference that we can't beat, and there's not a team in this conference that can not beat us. We've got to be prepared for everybody. We can't overestimate Drake and Northern Iowa because we know that they're two of the favorites. We just got to come in and compete and be tough and fight for every possession, because that's what life in the Valley is all about. So as much as, yes, there are two teams that are very tough to beat. They're outstanding teams. They're very well coached. We've got to be ready every ball game, and especially when you're on the road in the Valley. So that's kind of where we're stressing. Just we've got to obviously worry about us and make sure that we're hitting on all cylinders.
Sit here and give a moment to see if any questions pop up from our media that are logged in here. And again, if you have a question, hit *1, and we'll proceed along our queue here. First up, we have Todd Hefferman from the Southern newspaper. Todd, you want to go ahead and ask your question to Coach STEIN?
Hey, Cindy, how close was Lauren Hartman to what you expected, and how is she doing with trying to teach her to fight for every possession and not take possessions off?
Yeah, I think she's getting better and better. She was doing pretty well, and then she had that concussion, so I think, it's kind of gotten her back to playing the way we think she's capable of. A lot of it's confidence as well. Sometimes it's hard to have freshmen that are confident every single possession, and I think she's getting better and better. And I think she had a really solid weekend, and I think she's just going to continue to get better. But I think she's a lot closer to where we want her to be. She's looking for the ball all the time now because she's a really good scorer. I think she's being a little bit more confident with her shot, and I think that going to see probably a little bit more out of Lauren.
What's the best thing? What's the best thing she does with the basketball offensively?
Well, she's very smart, so I think that she makes good decisions. She's a good passer. She can actually put the ball down and dribble, which is always good with a big. But I think she's just so versatile. She shoots the three well. She can post up strong. She's got a nice little flip hook that I'm hoping she'll start. She'll do it in practice. We got to get her to do it in games a little bit more, but I think that she's just a very good basketball IQ, and as she continues to get confident and stronger, I think she'll continue to rise above.
And just watching Northern Iowa, their opponents are shooting almost 45%, but only one of their last 5 teams has scored over 60 points. What are they what's the best thing they do defensively right now?
Well, I think the thing with Northern Iowa is that they wear your tails out with their offense. They're constantly moving, and you've got to defend them extremely well. And sometimes that takes away from your offense. But they're going to try to take something away from you. And they'll change. They're very task specific as far as who they guard and how they guard them, and you just never know what they're going to throw at you. And I think you always have to expect anything with them. But they will try to throw you off your rhythm offensively, and you just got to always be prepared for anything.
Thank you.
And next up, we have a question from Larry Morgan.
Coach, in addition to Hartman, who of the freshmen and sophomores have stepped up and you've been especially pleased with their play to date?
Well, I would say Chris Nelson has done a really good job of coming in and providing instant offense for us, and she's a solid defender as well. Another young lady that's just going to get better and better. So she's done a nice job. I think Brittany Patrick's come in at the point guard and provided some really good, solid defense and energy. I just think you just look at it. Nicole Martin, who obviously starts for us on many games, is another young lady that great athleticism, jumps well, provides good scoring and rebounding for us, kind of hangs around that basket for all those loose balls. I think that, they all kind of bring something different and complement each other really well, and I think that's been a real bonus for us.
All right. Well, thank you, Cindy, for joining us, and good luck this weekend as you head to Iowa.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Next up on the call, we will have the head coach from Missouri State, Kelly Harper. The Bears, they sit 4-9 on the season and open up conference play at 0-2 this past weekend. So welcome, Kelly.
Thank you.
And I guess going on to get started here, have a question from Brad Wells via email, who does a lot of our stuff on ESPN3. He wanted you to comment on Alexa Willard and how impressive that her play has been as a freshman for you this season.
Well, Alexa is a long, gangly freshman who can really shoot the basketball. She's a pretty good rebounder. She has gotten a lot more confident recently in knowing her role. You see, the last few games she's had more shot attempts, which is what we're pushing for her to do. She gets in the gym more than any player on our team and shoots the ball well, so you want that player taking more shots in the game. And, I think the speed of the game, she's beginning to understand what that is at this level, and as she continues to mature and get stronger, I think you'll see her production in other areas improve, rebounding and defense and those type things.
Your team had a couple nice non-conference wins this season, knocking off Kansas and Arkansas. Can you comment on your team's play in those two games and kind of what that meant to your program in the non-league portion of the schedule?
Yeah, I thought our team played very tough and very focused in those games, and excuse me, and we made shots. I think we've been very inconsistent, but in those two particular games, we were pretty locked in and did what we needed to do on both ends of the court to get big wins.
Again, just a reminder to any media on the line, if you have a question to ask any of the coaches throughout the call, just dial *1 on your telephone keypad, and you'll pop up in the queue, and we'll get your question asked. Go ahead and move along with you here. Coming up this weekend, the Lady Bears, you will be hosting Wichita State on Friday in your lone game of the weekend. You have any comment on the contest with the Shockers on Friday night?
Well, no, they're going to be a tough basketball team. They're well coached. They're going to play hard. They defend, and right now their shooting percentage is really good. I think using the word intensity with that team is a good word to describe them and how they're playing. It'll be a tough game for us. There's no doubt, and we fully expect that. But I think right now, where we are as a basketball team, we're really trying to work this week on us, making us a better basketball team, and we think that's probably our biggest step right now is working on us, and then hopefully it will transfer over a little bit on Friday.
We have a question ready to go from Laura Leonard. Laura, you are now on the line to ask Coach Harper your question.
All right. Hey, how are you, Coach?
I'm good, thanks.
Hey, you guys lost a fair amount of scoring and to graduation and a big chunk of your team. Who's stepping up to fill those roles, and who's kind of stepping up to be the leader on your team?
Well, Laura, I think that's something that we're still working on. I think the biggest thing that we had, not only did we lose a lot of scoring, we lost every other statistical category leader. And our defensive our defense individually is still a work in progress. Our rebounding is something that we emphasize daily. It's still a work in progress. Our scoring, we're led right now by Liza Fruent. She's a talented scorer. Lexi Hughes can put the ball in the hole, and then beyond that, we've had a variety of people step up and make baskets for us, and we're very capable of having different people, average 8 to 10 to 12 points a game. So I think for us, maybe the biggest question there is our leadership. We're still working on that, and we had such a void with the graduation of 3 talented seniors that were the face of this program for the last 2 or 3 years. That void is something that we're trying to work through, and that's a process. It's something that we knew we would need to work on, and something that we've been focusing on for a while, and it's just a continued focus for us right now.
Great, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Laura. All right, Coach. Well, thank you for joining us, and good luck this weekend against Wichita State.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Next up on the line, we will have head coach ANDREA GORSKI from Bradley University. The Braves sit 4-8 on the season, 0-1 in Missouri Valley Conference play. So, welcome, Coach, to the call.
Thanks.
So going ahead to get started here. Again, anyone with questions, star and followed by 1 on your keypad, and we'll get it in the queue. Go ahead with you. I'll go ahead and have you comment on your team's play at Illinois State this weekend, and looking forward as you hit the road against Indiana State and Loyola this coming weekend.
Okay. At Illinois State, I think there were some minutes, some stretches that we played good basketball on both ends of the floor. And that's what we're kind of focusing on right now, is just making those runs a little, stretch them out a little bit more, be able to go, 2 good defensive stops with 2 good offensive possessions, and kind of running those together a little bit more. And that's kind of been our struggle all season is, we might play some good defense and get stops, but then now we're not taking advantage of that on the offensive end. And same and vice versa. We're scoring, we got spurts where we're scoring, and then we come down and we're giving up easy baskets. So it's really stringing together a couple stops with a couple of made baskets. And I thought we did some of that, but really what we're going to really focus on this week is playing a little more physical. Thought we got out tough on the boards. We gave up 17 offensive rebounds. And Illinois State played very physical against us, and I think our conference, there's some great post play and some physical guards. So we're going to have to be prepared for that, and that's a focus this week at practice.
Can you also talk about the play of Letty Lerma this season and the importance she is to your ball club?
Yeah, I know she's leading the conference in rebounding. It's 5'10". She's a pit bull in there, and has just a great nose for the ball. And just relentless. And at the end of the game, some of our wins this year, down the stretch, if we missed a shot, she was there to get a rebound. And I think that we she leads by example in that category. We'd like it to be a little more contagious with some of our other posts, but she does a great job for there. The one thing we're asking her to do a little bit more this year is score. Right now she's third on her team, 9.5 points. We'd like her field goal percentage to go up a little bit more with the amount of shots she's taking. So, but she's just a hard worker. She gets the most out of her abilities. We're going to look for her to continue to improve here through the course of her senior year.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Coach, for joining us today and taking up time of your busy schedule. And again, good luck to your team this weekend as you face Indiana State and Loyola.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you. So next on the line, we'll bring in Coach Kate ACHTER from Loyola. The Ramblers, they're 1-12 on the season, 0-2 in conference play. And again, if you have any questions for Coach, *1 on your telephone keypad. So welcome, Coach.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Hey. Any comments, I guess? I mean, you guys have played a really tough non-conference schedule, one of the toughest non-conference schedules in the conference this season, and actually ranks number 41 in the country. Just go ahead and comment on the tough tests that your Ramblers have faced so far this season.
Yeah, I think actually until we started conference play, we were at 33 in the country. So it's a little bit of breath of fresh air for us to actually get into conference and be a little bit more familiar with some of these teams. But, we lacked experience and no one cut us any breaks as we approached our conference season. But it's been good. Our kids have grown and, we're just really happy to be in the second part of our season with, teams we can really compete with and we're familiar with.
All right. And we have a question ready to go from Randy Reinhardt from the Bloomington Pantograph.
Yeah, hi, Coach.
Hi.
I know you are playing some young players this year. Can you talk about the Kiana Coomber and how she's done so far and how she's adjusting to college level?
Well, I think she's certainly benefiting from this Christmas break or the holiday break that we've had. We've had some more time to work with her and get to know her game a little bit. And more than anything is she's really dedicated herself these last few weeks to playing harder. I think she understands the level it takes to compete in college. And now that she's gone through, 12, 13 games at that pace, she understands that if she wants to find any success, that she's got to practice like that in order for it to translate. So we've been pleased with how she's really started to carry things over these last 2-3 games.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Coach, can you go ahead and talk about this weekend's home contest you have? You have Illinois State coming to town as well as Bradley.
Yeah, we're just really happy to be back home. We've had our first 2 road games were our first 2 conference games were on the road, and then prior to that, we were on the road in Texas for Christmas break. So it's going to feel good to be back in Gentile. Anytime that you've got good Missouri Valley teams coming in, it's a great opportunity. And if I can just keep my young kids positive and plugging away, I think that we'll be able to compete with Illinois State and Bradley. And that's all I want, especially with our lack of experience.
All right. Well, thank you very much for your time today, and good luck this weekend at home, and we'll be looking forward to seeing you soon.
Thank you.
So moving on down the line, we will now welcome Coach JODY ADAMS-BIRCH from Wichita State. The Shockers, they are 5-8 on the season and 0-2 in league play, with losses to Drake and Northern Iowa this weekend. So welcome Coach ADAMS-BIRCH to the call.
Hi, guys. How are you?
And again, if anyone has any questions, *1 on your keypad. Go ahead to get things started with you. We'll go ahead and have you comment on your matchup with Missouri State this weekend on Friday in your lone contest of the week.
Well, just coming off, playing the top 2 teams in the conference. We wanted to continue just to get better as being Wichita State. We had to get older last year because we had 0 experience after losing Alex, Jamila, and Kelsey, basically the face of your program, your leaders, your talent, your everything, your scoring, to the WNBA and Jamila went to play pro, and Kelsey was smart and went to work, but he lost everything. So last year was a lot of growing pains, and this year you're incorporating 5 new players, and had to figure out how to start this season without a senior leader and defensive leader in Jaleesa Chappell. So I'm just really impressed with how this team is coming together, and we're still learning each other and still growing together. But nothing like facing number 1 and number 2 right out of the gates. You know, we're continuing to focus on us. Missouri State, I think they're tough. I think they're gritty. I think they play hard. You know, I understand what KELLIE is going through with losing a lot and coming off winning a championship. So it's, you know, we're both young teams and talented teams that, you know, I think it'll be a very tough, gritty game.
And how do you rate your post play this season, specifically Sabrina and Ranji?
I think very good. They're very good. Sabrina is the most improved. Obviously, just being a freshman, you know, Ranji was a little older, being a transfer from Minnesota coming in, but they still had to both adjust, you know, to play in our system defensively first, and then offensively, and then understanding the valley of what they're going to have to guard, not just scoring. But, you know, I love how they play together. They play very, very well together. And, you know, they're talented in their own ways. Sabrina is just flat out a worker. I mean, she gets after it each and every day and makes Rangy better, and Rangy makes her better. So they're just a great combination. But I feel very, very solid, you know, in that 5 position.
Guess we'll work in one more here and just ask you about your thoughts moving forward with conference play and what you'd like to see from your group and as they grow throughout the season heading into Hoops in the Heartland.
Like I said, I mean, you're coming off of, you know, a year out of losing Alex Harden. She just finished her 2nd year in the WNBA. I mean, that's a major statement right there, and that's a significant loss, and you're trying to transition this program into basically a different culture without a player like that. And so, you know, it takes time. It takes time building that culture, you know, back to what you want it to be and know it can be to win in the Valley. So we're continuing just to put those pieces together and grow this team, grow our leaders. I think we're very, very talented, but the Valley is no easy cakewalk, and we know that. Our returners know that, and they're teaching that to our 5 newcomers. So, you know, we're just day by day. We're having fun. This group enjoys playing with each other, and we're just, again, continuing to learn how to win and how to play the game the right way. And when you play it the right way and you respect it, it'll give back an awful lot.
All right. Well, that will do. And I just want to thank you for taking your time out of your day today, and good luck against the Lady Bears in Springfield on Friday night.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Yeah, you too. Next up on the line, we will welcome University of Evansville head coach Matt Ruffing to the call. Welcome, Coach.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
And the Aces, they're off to their first 2-0 league start since 2006-07 with big wins over Indiana State and Loyola at home this weekend. You want to go ahead and talk about that first weekend of league play and how your girls played?
Yeah, you know, our big challenge to our team was keeping the positive momentum going. We had a nice stretch there to end our non-conference play. You know, our only loss during that stretch was to number 8 Louisville, and our kids did a really nice job of sticking to the game plan and playing with a lot of energy and enthusiasm, and you know, nothing like starting out 2-0, especially at home.
Can you talk about the play of Camry Williams so far this season, named Player of the Week once again this week? Leads the nation in steals, on pace to have 149 this year, which would be a Valley record if that continues. Go ahead and just talk about her growth as a player this season and how well she's been playing.
Yeah, since Cam, got on campus, she's a kid that works hard. I think of everyone on the team, she's benefited the most from the changes that we made going into this year, the culture, the locker room. She's really benefited from that, and I mean the level that she works at, she plays at. She's a kid that could play 40 minutes for us. Just has really expanded her game. Working on her offensive game, but then too she really focuses in on the game film when she watches the other team's offenses and she looks for places where she can get those steals and make an impact for us.
We now have a question from Larry Morgan. Larry, your line is now open, and you may ask your question.
Thank you, and maybe a couple if I could. Number one is obviously a great turnaround from last year. To what do you attribute that?
First off, to the players, buying in. We asked a lot of them this off season. It's not easy trying to change the culture and the locker room, and our kids never thought twice about what we were asking them to do and bought in. And, for us, we were hoping to get a win earlier. We talked a lot about real confidence, and, we tried to give our girls as much confidence as possible this summer, whether it was numbers or things that they could look at and see that they were improving. It took us a little while to get that win, but once we got that win, I think they realized what they're capable of now.
And secondly, just style-wise, what have you changed over last year?
Well, we're more offensive now. We're an offensive-minded ball club. Our goal is to score 70 points a game. We obviously missed that the first two, conference games. We're just under that as far as overall. We're at about just over 67. But we really tried to make things lighter, fun for our group. It's nice to have them come into practice wanting to come into practice and put forth their best effort. And right now, that's just the focus, keeping that going, keeping everyone loose and this fun environment. And we got our hands full coming up this weekend. I just heard Jody talk about playing 1 and 2, and that's what we got next.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Can you talk about that a little more, Coach, about the tough gauntlet you have this weekend heading to Drake in northern Iowa?
I like it. I like that word you just used. That's how we described it to our team today. We got the top 5 preseason pick teams coming up in our next 5 games, and we're going to find out who we are and where we stand these next 5 games, and that's the challenge. Obviously, 2 on the road and 3 at home, and I think our girls, they're eager and excited, to start this and to go up against Drake. Obviously we watched them on film. They're a very good team. UNI, same thing, well coached. Both of them had big non-conference wins, and we're excited for the opportunity to travel there and get a chance to play the 2 top teams.
And finally, we have a question in our queue now from Craig Pearson from the Star. Craig, you are now on the line, and ask a question for Coach.
Hi, Coach. I just had a question about Sarah Dickey, and have you asked her to do anything different this year as a senior? And obviously a great scorer. Is she contributing big time in other ways as well?
Yeah, I appreciate the question. This summer we challenged her to become better one-on-one offensively, defensively to get more rebounds, and she's really enjoyed this season. To have others around her that are capable scorers that can step up. Obviously, her and Cam. Point-wise right now, Sarah's at 16.8, Cam's at 16.4. She's not the main focus and the only focus some teams have, and it's made her job a little easier, and she knows that coming into games, that pressure isn't on her, and we're still trying to groom a couple others to get some more consistent scores up in the double-figure range, but she's really focused on trying to be a team leader. Obviously the players know what she's done here, given the fact that she broke the school scoring record at Northwestern. And so she's someone they look to, and she's always been a really, really hard worker. And we've challenged her to be a little more vocal, and she's done that too. And I'm just very happy with the season that she's having, along with the other 3 seniors.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Coach, for joining us, and good luck this weekend as you travel up to Iowa for a pair contest.
Thank you very much. We'll need it. Thank you.
All right. We'll talk to you soon. Thanks, Mike. Next up on the call, we will welcome head coach of Illinois State, Barb Smith. The Redbirds, they opened up league play with a win over Bradley this weekend. They sit 4-8 overall on the year. So welcome, Coach, to the call.
Thank you. Happy New Year to everybody.
You too. Can I go ahead and get started just with some comments about your win over Bradley and how your girls played in that victory?
Well, I just thought that we were able to finish the game. I think there's been just, with this situation this year, there's been so much distraction. We've had people in and out, and our consistency has just not been there. So we're trying to take all these games and just put everything back together. I thought we had a good start on the year, and I thought we had just a lot of distraction, a lot of injury, people not being able to participate. So on top of that, we're young, so we're just trying to put it all back together. And I thought against Bradley, they did that to finish the game. I was proud of them.
Can you go ahead and talk about, I guess, this weekend's contest as you will be facing Loyola and Indiana State on the road on Friday and Sunday, and just looking to improve on that one start in conference play?
Yeah, I look at, any road game in the conference is like playing the first and second team in the conference. I mean, it's always a battle. The Loyola is very tough. They're very, very balanced. I don't think their record is indicative of how hard they play and how balanced they are. So that's going to be a fist fight. And then we're going to Indiana State, known for their defense all the time. It's going to be tough to score out there. I already know that. They play hard. They're well coached. So this road trip for us, and to be honest, it doesn't matter who we're playing. It's more about us at this point, and we just got to put our pieces back together and keep progressing.
And we have a question ready on the line from Randy Reinhardt from the Bloomington Pentagraph.
Hi, Barb.
Randy.
Hey, Randy.
For Annie Corrigan, how is she doing, and do you think she'll have a chance to be back this weekend?
It's as I'm well aware this year with this concussion protocol, it's tough to get back soon. So she didn't practice today. She's out, and it's day by day. What they have to do. So we're hoping we have her by Friday, but there's just no guarantee.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks, Rand.
Can you go ahead and talk about some of your newcomers this season and what they've meant to the improvement of your program?
Sure. I think one thing that was good about having so many injuries is our young kids did get some playing time early and really learned and grew from that experience. Franny Corrigan being one of them. And now she's out, but she really grew, had some valuable minutes. I think the other one that really benefited is Megan Talbot, who's playing inside for us. There's such a big adjustment going from high school to college, and to be more physical, to understand the different intensity and that there's more work required in games. I think all those lessons were learned by those two in particular. I think Hannah Green is another person that is now back and trying to regain her game. I think she does a lot for us on and off the court, just in leadership and her passion for the game, her ability to play at both ends of the floor. I think she's given us some great value to this point.
Well, thank you very much, Coach, and good luck this weekend as you travel to Chicago and Terre Haute.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
All right, we'll talk to you soon. So moving along on the call, we will now bring in head coach of the Indiana State Sycamores, Joey Wells. Welcome, Coach.
How you guys doing? Happy New Year.
Great. The Sycamores, you now sit 1-1 in conference play. You had a split this weekend with a loss at Evansville, rebounded from that, and beat Southern Illinois on the road. Can you talk about those two contests?
I think they were two opposite ends of the spectrums, and when I say that, I'm not taking anything away against Evansville. It's a good team. You know, obviously they have Sarah Dickey, one of the better players in our conference. But for us personally, I don't think we could have played two opposite games just in terms of our intensity level, how hard we played. And we've kind of battled that all year, to be honest with you. You know, we'll play some teams and not look so great. You know, we'll look bad, and the next game will look good. And so the fluctuation between good and bad is we got to get that fixed.
And kid, looking ahead this weekend, you guys will be back at home, and you'll host Bradley and Illinois State. Any thoughts on those two contests?
That's going to be a fight. It's funny because we're excited to be back home. Obviously, we've only had 3 home games this year, so we're not sure how much of a home court advantage it is in terms of being on the field, you know, playing games there. But with our crowd, and hopefully the rebound that we did, the way we played at Southern Illinois, that'll carry over, you know, to understanding the intensity that's needed every conference game. There's nobody, doesn't matter the record, doesn't matter anything. When you get to conference play, everything just bumps up a level, and we're still learning that. And hopefully we've learned it this last weekend with the 2 games, and we can keep moving forward.
Can you talk about your non-conference schedule? You finished with a 6-5 mark in non-league play with some pretty impressive wins, especially at St. Louis on December 6th. Just any thoughts on your team's growth during the non-league play and how that'll translate to the conference season?
Yeah, well, I think we grew a lot. We learned, you know, one of the things we wanted to do is learn how to win on the road, you know, and if you look at our conference, if you can protect your home court, and then if you can at least split on every road game, then you're going to have an opportunity, you know, to be that top 3 in your conference. And I think obviously we split this last weekend. So I'm not saying we're not disappointed with what happened. We think that's what you have to do if you want to be in the top end of our conference. You have to be able to go on the road and split. And I think our non-conference helped us, you know, grow and learn how to bounce back from, you know, a performance that we weren't happy with to one we're happy with. And then we had an opportunity to play a lot of players. You know, we have 10 on the roster right now. And so everybody gets an opportunity to play. But on the flip side of that, we can't have foul trouble. And we got into a little bit of that at Evansville.
Can you talk about Ashley's and Wendy's play this year and how they've been developing throughout the season?
Yeah, no, well, I'll start with Ashley. She's always had a very good skill set. You know, she can score outside, inside, mid-range. But she has a maturity for the game, you know, like seeing the floor and all that stuff, but the maturity of staying on the floor, picking up 2 quick fouls. You know, it's happened 3 or 4 times this year where she's picked up, you know, 2 fouls in the first quarter, you know, not able to get her out quick enough. But she really helps us stay at an even pace offensively. You know, when she's not in the game for us, we get a little scattish, I guess you could call it. But when she's in there, she's just got a calm feel to her. So she's really needed, you know, for that sense to help everybody else, you know, feel under control. And then Wendy has really came on strong. You know, whether it's junior college or high school, there's an adjustment. I know Coach talked about it, you know, before, you know, whether it's the speed of the game or the physicality of it. But she's made that adjustment really well. She's very athletic, and she's bought into the concept that she's got to defend and rebound, and the scoring will come. She doesn't have to go look for it.
And we have a final question in queue from Craig Pearson. Craig, you are now on the line and can ask your question to Coach Wells.
Hi, Coach. How are you?
I'm doing good. Yourself?
Pretty good. Yeah, you mentioned playing 9 or 10 players, and then on Sunday you tightened it up to just the 8, I believe. You know, talk about how that bench is developing, and with Telfair and Wentland and Ashley O'Neal, you know, playing important roles for you.
Yeah, no, they've been great. I thought, even though if you look at the stat line, Reagan Wentland, that's one great, but just she played 34 minutes or something like that, and the way she played defensively, She was at help side. She was in all the right places. She got all those balls. She tipped rebounds. And she was a real key for the way we played. And so her growth has been great. And then, Ashley O'Neal, our freshman back at PG, is still going through a learning curve. She missed 2 weeks in the non-conference because she had her appendix out. Really, it ended up being 3 weeks. And so she's missed some practice time and some game time. So she still has, a couple games that she has to get under her belt so she gets a little bit more comfortable. And then Mackenzie Taylorfield would be the other one that's kind of came on strong for us. Redshirt freshman that's very athletic and has a very high ceiling. We just have to continue to teach her how to play hard and stay competitive.
Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Coach, and good luck this weekend as you host Illinois State and Bradley.
Sounds good. Thank you, and good luck to all you guys that are traveling. Stay safe.
Okay, thank you, Coach. Next up on the line, we will bring in Coach TANYA Warren from Northern Iowa. The Panthers 9-4 on the season, 2-0 in league play. They sit 43rd in the RPI poll as of January 2nd. So welcome, Coach.
Well, hello. Happy New Year to everyone.
Happy New Year to you. You had a couple nice road wins this week, beating Missouri State and Wichita State, getting off to a good start at 2-0. Can you talk about those two wins?
Well, we're still work in progress, but those were two great road wins in the fact that I thought both teams did a very good job of getting us on our heels. I thought once we made some adjustments, we were able to come up with big plays down the stretch in both of those games to get the win. And both games were great team wins for us and just team effort all around.
And your program had some nice wins in the non-conference portion of the schedule, highlighted by that win over 24th ranked Kansas State. You also have a couple other top 100 RPI wins with wins over IUPUI and Creighton. Can you talk about those three wins and what that means for your resume moving forward as you move along in league play?
Again, we try to do everything we can to play a extremely tough non-conference schedule that better helps prepare us for Valley play, because we know Valley play is a grind game in and game out. And to knock off 24th rated K-State obviously was a big step in our program. We had talked a lot about the almost. We're no longer okay with the almost. It was important for us to take the next step, and the next step for our program we felt was being able to knock off someone of K-State's caliber. And again, we was able to make some big plays down the stretch from a variety of different people on both sides of the basketball. Again, another great team effort. Creighton's always a grind just because we know each other extremely well. We play similar. We both defend characteristics extremely well. We was fortunate to come up again with a big stop in the end to win that basketball game. And to open at IUPUI, who I believe is picked second in the Summit, that was a huge confidence booster for not only our returners, but our young kids too, who were able to get a feel right away of how the game is at the collegiate level, especially on the road.
Just as a reminder to any media on the line, to ask a question, hit *1 on your phone keypad, and you'll pop up into our queue. Moving along with you, Coach, I'll go ahead and just ask you about the play of Madison Weekly and Megan Moss this season. Madison been Player of the Week a couple times, and Megan Moss has been the Newcomer of the Week. Can you comment about them and what they've meant to your team so far this season?
Well, Madison Weekly is just a great leader. She's extremely humble. She does a lot of everything for us. She scores. She can score in a variety of ways. She's back at playing a lot of point guard positions. She's doing a great job of getting her teammates the basketball where they can score. Her assist-to-turnover ratio, considering she has the basketball in her hands 95% of the time and is going against most teams' best defender, handles extremely well. Just an amazing team leader and does a lot for us. Megan is continuing to improve on both ends of the floor. She gives us that inside-outside presence, has great versatility with her ability to step out and shoot the three. She had 2 huge threes against K-State, and she also can score with the back to the basket. As she continues to understand the pace at this level and continues to get stronger, she has a bright future. We're very, very fortunate to have both of those young women in our program.
And moving along this weekend, you return home. You face Southern Illinois in Evansville. Can you talk about those 2 matchups?
Well, both teams are very good, and both teams are playing well. I know Southern lost at home the other night, but they're very capable of scoring a lot of points. They shoot the three extremely well. They have an inside presence, and Napier is always a matchup nightmare for anyone. So we're definitely going to have to understand scouting report details in terms of how we want to defend, and then some things that we want to do offensively. But they're extremely well coached, and that will be a big game for us. Evansville, what can I say? I mean, they have improved drastically. They're playing with an extreme amount of confidence. They can score, again, in a variety of ways, and all 5 kids on the floor can score. So we have our hands full this weekend with both teams, and we're looking forward to having an opportunity on Friday to get off to the right foot in terms of, you always want to make sure you take care of home court, and Friday is a good opportunity for us. But it's going to be a grind. We understand that.
Well, thank you so much, Coach. That concludes your time today, and I appreciate you taking time out of your day, and look forward to seeing you here down the line this season.
Thank you. Happy New Year. Happy New Year to you.
And our final coach on the call will be head coach JENNIE BARANCZYK from Drake University. The Bulldogs are 9-4 overall, 2-0 in league play. They're 30th in the latest RPI ratings. So welcome, Coach, to the call.
Hey, everybody.
Thank you for taking time out of your day. You guys had a couple big road wins to open up conference play, getting wins at Wichita State and Missouri State. Tough task going on the road and getting wins over those 2 programs, and just your thoughts on those 2 games and getting off on the right foot here in league play.
Yeah, I think both games were really, really good. And, we went down to Wichita first, and I tell you what, JODY had her team playing really, really good basketball, and I think Rangy Bassard is definitely made a name for herself in our game for sure, and we knew she was going to be really good, but she played just extremely well. Their whole team did. And then we went to Missouri State, and I think we started the game really well, but I tell you what, their freshmen are going to be really, really good. And they were able to make some really big plays, so it was fun for us to be able to not only have a lot of balance in our game, but to play 2 really, really good basketball teams.
And talk about freshmen. You have a standout of your own, and Becca Hittner 3 times in a row. She's been the league's newcomer of the week. You talk about her play these past 3 weeks and just how she's growing as a player in the program.
Yeah, and I think all 3 of our freshmen have really grown a lot, and Maya Mertz continues to get better for us, and Brittany Rose continues to do some really big things, and you're right, Becca Hittner is you kind of already forget that she's a freshman, and she missed the first 5 games of the season due to an injury, so we've had a lot of flexibility in terms of that and making adjustments, but she's really starting to come into her own, and she just fits really well, I think, with everybody that's on the floor. People really enjoy playing with her.
We'll go ahead and have you talk about Lizzie as well. I mean, averaging 22.2 points per game this season. That's 7th nationally. She's 3rd nationally in career scoring, just a touch over 2,100 points, which is 4th all-time in Valley history. As a senior, her leadership, her scoring, and just how important she is to you guys.
Well, I think Lizzie's best attribute is that she's a winner, and she makes people around her much better and believe in something. And, she has an ability not just to score the basketball, but she averages quite a few assists a game, too. So she just creates things. And she's one of those players that, you know, when big plays need to be made, she makes them, or she makes someone else believe that they can make them. And she's done an incredible job. She's really fun to watch. She can do so many different things. She continues to add different elements to her game. She's a competitor. But you can't help but really, really like her. I mean, every one of our players, there's not many, you know, 2,000-plus point scorers that people play with and talk about them being the ultimate team player, and she's that person.
We have a couple questions in queue. We'll go ahead and get started with Cody Goodwin from the Des Moines Register.
Hey, Coach. How's it going?
Hi, Cody. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you, too. I guess you guys are now 2 games into conference play. I guess, you know, now that you guys are done with that brutal non-conference schedule, I guess, have you had time to maybe assess the growth your team has made over the course of the non-conference schedule, or is that something you might assess a little later down the road?
Yeah, really good question. I think, you know, I think one of the biggest things that we've learned in terms of growth is just constant adjustments. You know, you just have to constantly adjust, and we've had some people in and out of lineups just due to injuries and just kind of stuff like that. And so I think one of the things that our team has done a nice job of is really be able to be flexible. I think with our tough non-conference schedule, we played the majority of those games on the road, and so I think that helps you when you open up at Wichita and you open up at Missouri State. So those are some of the lessons. There's still some lessons that we continue to learn that I'd like to already learn and check off, but haven't quite gotten there yet. But we will, and I think the biggest thing for us is that, you know, we continue to talk about balance and chemistry, and I think we're continuing to focus on just getting better every day.
Definitely. I guess after having been on the road or really just kind of away from Des Moines the last few weeks, really your last 4 games, is it going to be nice to have 2 back-to-back games this coming weekend at home?
Oh, you know it will be. You know it will be. It'll be really nice for us to get back home. And, you know, I think we did some really nice things at home in our non-conference, and it feels like it's been a really long time since we've been there. And we're bringing in, again, 2 really good teams to be able to open up Valley play at home. And I think that's significant for us. I think it's significant for our fans in this community.
Cool. Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, Cody.
Next up on the line, we have Craig Pearson. Craig, you can ask your question to Coach now.
Hi, Coach.
Hi, Craig.
A lot's been made of some of the quality wins the league has had this year, and I know there's some every year, but with you in Northern Iowa in the top 35 in the RPI, do you look at that RPI, the league as a whole, and is that one way you can kind of measure the strength of the league each year, or does that mean anything to you at all?
No, I think it has to, and I think our league has done a really good job in the non-conference in terms of scheduling. I think we're scheduling in a more strategic way, or at least trying to, and you're right, there's been a number of teams that have had significant wins, and I think that's great for our league, but I also think that, you know, you take some of those signature quote-unquote BCS wins out of it, and you're talking about we're playing the top teams in leagues that are similar to us, and we're coming away with a lot of wins in those leagues. So for us to be able to do that, I think, is also extremely significant.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Coach. Good luck this weekend as you host Southern Illinois and Evansville.
Thanks so much. Appreciate it. Happy New Year.
Hey, Happy New Year to you. Well, that concludes our call today. I want to thank everybody for joining us, and look forward to having everybody join us once again as we have our second and final call on Tuesday, March 7th, prior to Hoops in the Heartland. So thank you very much.
This concludes today's conference. You may now disconnect.
Ready to discover the newest marvel on the Mississippi? Hoops in the Heartland is returning to the Quad Cities. Don't miss the 2017 Missouri Valley Conference Women's Basketball Championship at the iWireless Center in Moline, presented by Aetna. Get your tickets and experience Hoops in the Heartland as 10 Missouri Valley teams battle it out for a final march to Selection Sunday. Get your tickets and get to the Quad Cities for Hoops in the Heartland.
The administrators, educators,
coaches, and fans of the Missouri Valley Conference
expect nothing but the best from their teams.
And the Valley student athletes take pride in exceeding that expectation.
On the field,
on the court, on the track,
and in the classroom.
Celebrating academic and athletic excellence.
For 110 years.
We are Missouri Valley.